नमस्कार मंडळी, मी प्रेम आमटे. तर आपण आज या व्हिडिओमध्ये पाहणार आहोत की एका बेल्जियमच्या व्यक्तीने आपल्या महाराष्ट्रातील महाराजांचे 200 किल्ले अवघ्या 2 महिन्यात सर केले आहेत. जसंच मला कळलं, एका मित्राने मला फोन केला की यांचं एक सेशन आहे नगरमध्ये. तर मी लगेच गाडी काढली. तसा मी मूळचा औरंगाबादचा आहे, तर मी लगेच नगरला पोहोचलो त्यांचं सेशन ऐकण्यासाठी. तर त्यात त्यांनी बऱ्याच काही गोष्टी सांगितल्या होत्या, जसं की त्यांना किती खर्च लागला, त्यांनी कसा संवाद साधला, त्यांनी काय काय खाल्लं तिथे वगैरे वगैरे बरंच काही त्यांनी सांगितलं. पीटर व्हॅन हे एका प्रोजेक्टसाठी भारतात आले होते. त्यानंतर ते भारताच्या प्रेमातच पडले आणि ते नंतर कधी बेल्जियमला परतलेच नाही. त्यांनी हिमालयातले 120 पासेस अवघ्या 120 दिवसात कंप्लीट केले. आणि जसं मी सांगितलं की सह्याद्रीतील अवघे 200 किल्ले त्यांनी 2 महिन्यात कंप्लीट केले आहेत. तर आपण जाणून घेऊया त्यांनी हे नेमकी कसं केलं त्यांच्या जुबानी.
May till September in Trekkamp, Himachal and Ladakh, crossed some 120 passes over 3,500 kilometers, which has been a life-changing experience.
Yes. So in Ahmednagar, like we always say, MS16 नादच खुळा. Like we people of Ahmednagar are very homecoming. They are very loving people, as you just said. But what message would you like to give before we start with your presentation?
Yeah, so I've traveled in many places in the world. I've traveled extensively in Europe. I went to America. I've been to Vietnam, where I ran 2,000 kilometers across the country. I've also done a lot of traveling in India, and I must say, I mean, the last 2 months, I've discovered something unique in the world. The Sahyadris, this geographical beauty, combined with the rich history of the Marathas, and combined with overwhelming hospitality I encountered in many of the small villages, makes this place actually unique on a world scale.
Yeah. So before we start, I would also like to ask you about Instagram. So this is a favorite subject of all of us now, because social media has conquered us, I would like to say. So can you just tell me few tips about Instagram and social networking which will boost people over here, and they are really interesting to hear those tips.
So I think, right, initially we had Facebook, which came up in 2008, I believe it started, and more recent years I see a lot of more momentum actually being created on Instagram, on YouTube. Social media, of course, there is a lot of mixed content there, but especially Instagram, I've seen that, I mean, a lot of passionate people who actually are doing some amazing stuff, or discovering some very beautiful, say, places as hikers, as outdoors people, as explorers, posting and sharing their experiences, which can now easily be captured on these smartphones, which have amazing cameras, allows you to really reach out to hundreds or not thousands of people and inspire those people also to get into sports, outdoor activities, and a more active and healthy lifestyle, basically. So it's really something that's very powerful to connect with like-minded people.
Definitely. So any questions for Peter before we start the program? Because these will be the informal questions if anybody wants to ask. Peter भाऊंसाठी काही क्वेश्चन्स असतील तर तुम्ही विचारू शकता. आणि आता आपण लगेचच 1 मिनिटामध्ये त्याची PPT रेडी होईल. स्टार्ट करतोय त्यांचा कार्यक्रम, आणि त्यांचा अनुभव आपण संपूर्ण सह्याद्रीचा जाणून घेणार आहोत, आणि हिमालयामधला अनुभव सुद्धा ते आपल्याबरोबर लवकरच शेअर करणार आहेत.
Who give me this opportunity to come to Ahmednagar. So in the last 2 months, actually, from end of October to end of December, I've been actually covering, I've seen every nook and corner of Maharashtra. I was driving on a bike. I covered some 200 beautiful forts. Every fort is actually unique. Every fort has a story behind it. Some forts were the former capitals of the kingdom of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. You can probably press 11 to maximize the presentation. So other forts like Pratapgarh, like Singat, like the movie which is playing in the theaters, like Purandar, are very important because some historical battles have been fought there which changed the course of history, literally. I actually came to the Sahyadris because I'm very passionate about nature. So I'm an ultra runner. So initially I started like a hiker, but now I'm somebody who's more into running. So my usual routine during the weekend is I start on Friday evening to a beautiful mountain place, and I will be running 100 kilometers over 2 days, and Sunday then go back to office actually. So I'm somebody who kind of covers long distances on foot, mostly to beautiful natural places, basically, to take in the less touristic places. So I put together a small presentation to kind of share my experiences with you, some of the unique things I've experienced in this last 2 months. I hope it's a little bit clear to everyone in the room. Okay, we can probably go to the next slide. Yeah, and you can skip again. We'll just take out the main points next. Yeah, so yeah, we can stay on the next one. So I'm going to start with a small introduction. So my name is Peter. I'm from Belgium. Belgium is a very chota country in Europe. So as you can see, this is a picture of me when I was very young on the beach in Belgium. I've always been like, I'm known as a minimalist, somebody who travels with very like minimal luggage. Even when I go to the Himalayas, I spent 4 months the entire summer there. I carry very little luggage. I kind of, as a runner, you want to think about every 100 gram you carry with you, because you do so much climbing, you cover so much of elevation gain, that every gram actually counts, because every gram slows you down. And as you can see, actually from young age onwards, I was pretty minimalistic in my outfit. I'll put my phone in silent mode, yeah. Okay, next slide. So I grew up in Belgium. I did my studies there as Masters of Computer Science. Yeah, it's okay for me. Yeah. So English is fine, or I mean, anything is fine for me. I can keep going, or do you want to do some interruptions and explain in Marathi? I don't know.
Okay. So तुम्ही सांगा नगरकर. आम्ही explain करण्याची गरज आहे, translate करण्याची गरज आहे.
नाही.
No? Okay. So जर तुम्हाला काही question असेल, तर please raise your hand. Is it okay? Yeah. Please raise your hand and you can ask the question in Marathi.
Yeah. So we'll go to the presentation, and then again, VISHAL told me we'll have another 30 minutes for question and answer. So I think a lot of your questions will be answered in the presentation itself. Does any know where this picture was taken in India? It's a famous place.
Ladakh.
Ladakh, where in Ladakh? Which one? Kardungla, perfect. So this is actually the highest motorable pass in the world, which is located just north of Leh, Ladakh. It's somewhere like 17,000 or 18,000 feet, and so it's pretty high. And this picture was taken in 2001. So I've been going to the Himalayas actually for the last 20 years. First, I used to go on motorbike. I used to have this Enfield Bullet Lightning 535cc. Over the years, I've explored a lot on bike, Western Ghats, Himalayas, tropical beaches of Goa, the desert of Rajasthan. Over time, I switched to a cycle. I've been cycling all over the India, the Western Ghats again, and the Himalayas. And then in the recent year, I actually started running. So we'll come back to that later. So I came to India on a work assignment. So in '98, we were not able to find software engineering talent in Europe. So my manager sent me to India on a mission to recruit people in Delhi, Hyderabad, and Chennai. And I set up a small software team of some 30 people in Chennai, Tamil Nadu. I was supposed to stay for 1 year, but as you can see, after 22 years, I'm still here. So it looks like I'm not going anywhere. So, I mean, immediately I fell in love with the beauty of the Indian subcontinent. You still have so much of virgin nature here, mountains, forests, that I was really overwhelmed that I started exploring in various ways, biking, cycling, running. And over the years, I was so intrigued with this beautiful, diversity of nature that I actually settled down. India is now my home. I hardly go back to Belgium anymore. Okay, so then 10 years later, next slide, in 2008, so something was happening. Let me explain you. I don't know how it is in Ahmednagar or Maharashtra, but I used to frequently go with friends from the office on hikes. Those friends used to join me very frequently. So every weekend, 52 weekends in the year, they used to join me. Then all of a sudden I used to get a marriage invitation from these people, and after that they disappeared from the planet of the Earth. So after marriage actually they dropped their passion, unfortunately, and many of these people kind of started, going away. So after a while I was actually looking for a new company, friends who could join me on treks. So I started what we call the Chennai Trekking Club. So that's similar to Trekkamp. It's actually like a non-profit, volunteer-based organization who used to go hiking like almost every weekend of the year. So after I set up this website, within a couple of months, every weekend I was going with 20, 30 new like-minded people in the jungles of Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Andhra. From trekking we went to sports, we started swimming, we started cycling, we started doing triathlons. Since 2013 we have organized the Iron Triathlon, where you basically swim for 4 kilometers, followed by 180 kilometers of cycling, followed again by running a full marathon, which is 42 kilometers, non-stop, one, two after the other. So we used to have 1,000 people from all over India, 50 cities, North India and South India, coming to this twice-a-year event and participating in our triathlons of Chennai. Next slide. So here you can see we organized a lot of practice sessions. We had beautiful quarries, open waters in the outskirts of Chennai, where we used to teach people how to swim, right? As part of a triathlon, swimming, cycling and running is required. So over 4 years actually we got hundreds and hundreds of people teaching them how to swim in the open waters. Next. We also started organizing various sports events. So we organized like Javadu Ultra, Kolai Ultra. So these are ultra runs. So you're probably familiar with marathons, where you run 10 kilometers, 21 kilometers, 42 kilometers. In an ultra marathon, you actually take people to the mountains, so where they can run in beautiful trails in the mountains, and they will be running 100 kilometers and more actually. So that's what we call ultra running. That's also something that I love to do. So here you'll actually run non-stop from morning till evening. So next one. So as we went out very frequently to nature, to hike and get a closer connection with nature and the outdoors, we also started respecting nature also. We knew the positive energy we got physically and mentally from being close to nature. Spending a weekend in the wild actually gave us so much of positivity that we could again sit behind the computer screen from Monday to Friday. So and automatically we started creating like awareness. So Chennai, just like Mumbai, is located on the beach. There used to be a lot of garbage over the last 10 years. So every World Environment Day, the first week of June, we took together 10,000 volunteers, not just from the group, but from so many big companies, NGOs, sports groups in Chennai. Everybody used to go to the beach, 20 kilometers of beaches, and remove 50 tons of garbage, just to create the awareness that we have to live in a more sustainable way. We cannot just throw plastic everywhere, and if we make our environment sick, obviously, we depend on our environment, we're also going to get sick, obviously. Next slide. So, and then another beautiful initiative is as these cities get bigger, especially like Chennai, Bangalore, even Pune, Mumbai, a lot of IT is there, more and more real estate, the city keeps expanding, people cut the green outskirts, replace them by apartments, flats. So we also started planting a lot of trees. Trees are so important for the planet, for the city, because they create a better living environment. They generate oxygen, they maintain the water level in the ground. They attract wildlife, they attract birds and insects, which are actually the base food chain of any bigger healthy ecosystem. So over these 5 years, we have a group called 99 who planted more than 15,000 trees in and around Chennai city, making the city a more enjoyable place to live in, basically. Yeah, next. Okay, and then a little bit about running. So after I did a lot of hiking, we went through so many jungles over the last 10 years of the group. So the group actually was started in 2008. And over 10 years, it grew exponentially. We went in so many different activities, photography, workshops about map reading, navigation, snake workshops to recognize venomous, non-venomous snakes, photography workshops, kind of all non-profit. We wanted to share this important knowledge with anyone who is interested. Over these 10 years, actually, the group exploded, and as of now, we have some 40,000 people in this group. So actually, we transformed the culture, like I think Ahmed, like I understood in Marathi from VISHAL, we were trying to change the culture, which was pretty lazy and laid back in Chennai, to like an active sports community, like people being active and living a healthy lifestyle through all kinds of sports and outdoor activities. So if we go to the next one. So we started organizing runs in the next slide with our group. So every weekend again, we went to the mountains. Instead of hiking 2 days, we were running 100 kilometers over 2 days, camping on Saturday evening, cooking food together, bonding together. And in some years, actually, we ran like 4,000 kilometers over the year in the mountains, basically. Next one. Okay, this we can skip. Next. So over the years then, I went to the Himalayas the first time in actually the year of 2000. Over the years I started replacing the bike by cycle, and then in the last 5 years as a runner I actually started running. Does anybody know this place in, it looks like Spiti but it's not Spiti. Yeah, close. So if you cross the Saj Pass, right, Dharmasala side, you cross the Saj Pass, you come in a beautiful valley called the Pangi Valley. Pangi is not very known because most people go from Manali straight to Leh Ladakh. But after Manali, if you cross the Rohtang Pass, you take a left on Dundee, you come in an amazing valley, like a steep rock cut valley, very steep. This is the Chenab River Valley, the confluence of the Baga and the Chandra River, two very important rivers in the Himalayas. So running in this place, I used to love doing that. So I used to run from Shimla, run through the Spiti Valley, in Manali, go towards Pangi Valley, and then actually reach all the way from Shimla to Jammu in Kashmir actually. So that was 700 kilometers running over like 12 days basically. Fully self-supported, no aid stations, nobody was there to guide us. Wherever there is a village we find food, we eat. Wherever there is a stream, we drink from the stream. And we sleep again along the way. Next. So then 2 years ago, so I was actually working eventually, so I came over for a Belgian company, but eventually I was working in an American company called Cisco. Probably you know Cisco because they are the biggest company which makes all the internet equipment, all the routers, so it's like a big multinational. So I was working for Cisco as a project manager, right? And this is then 2 years ago in 2017. So I'd been sitting actually in a cubicle, commuting to office every day, sitting in a 5 by 5 feet cubicle the whole day, again commuting back home in the evening. So like that daily routine of going to work, sitting in meetings, sitting in an air-conditioned office, disconnected from nature. I was actually getting tired of that. I could, of course, go out in the weekends. I could run in the Himalayas for 2 weeks, but I always felt constrained in terms of time. I felt always, okay, I have to go back to office on Monday. So 2 years ago, I made a big decision actually to quit this job, even though I got a lot of money from it. As I was earning a lot of money, I was also spending a lot of money on a lot of unnecessary materialistic things. Since then, I've gone like very minimalistic, as you can see. So, and now for the last 2 years, actually, most of the time, I'm actually running somewhere. I've run like 2 full summers in the Himalayas. I've run, in the next slide, the first big journey that I did, I call them ultra journeys, was in Vietnam actually. So for almost 1.5 months, 50 days, I was running a full marathon every single day. So I was running like 2,000 kilometers in the northeast mountains of Vietnam. And that was an overwhelming experience because it's not just about the running. I mean, after a while, your legs get very strong, and it's not a physical thing anymore. It's more like a mental thing. And you're running in these remote places, you become very peacefully inside. You also come along a lot of hospitality. So as I was running to these remote places, I used to cross very small hamlets, very small villages along the way. And wherever I ended, wherever the sun was setting down at the end of the day, I typically was, I mean, even though I didn't speak a word of Vietnamese, I could easily connect with people. We were connecting with a friendly smile. And in many places, people invited me into their home to give me food, to drink some vodka shots. Everyone kind of has their own brewery in the backyard. So after running the whole day, a couple of shots of vodka, ensure that you had a good sleep in the night actually. So that was amazing, that was very overwhelming. So it was not only a journey through beautiful nature, but it was also a journey where you got in touch with overwhelming humanity, I call it. Like a lot of innocent people who were like showing you a heartwarming hospitality, taking you in as their own child in their house actually. Sometimes you were sleeping in their beds and those people were sleeping on the floor, so very touching basically. So after Vietnam I came back to India, and the next slide, and I was actually, for the last 2 years then, 18 and 19, I've been spending all of the summers from May till September in the Himalayas. So that means I'm in the mountains, I get in May and I don't get out till the end of September when the winter starts. So after September again it starts snowing and it becomes a bit difficult. So over these 2 years I covered some 6 months or like 4,500 kilometers running over very steep mountains, crossing 160 passes and doing some 2 lakhs of elevation gain. What is 2 lakhs of elevation gain? That's 200,000 meters, which is roughly like 30 times the height of Mount Everest. So you know Mount Everest is the highest mountain in the world. So again, an amazing experience. So I'm just showing you one slide. So this topic is like a dedicated presentation. I've been giving a presentation on this in Mumbai and Pune. I've also given a beautiful movie to Vishal, so he can probably show it to anyone interested. Probably because as you walk on the mountains, and if in a later time when you have some more time, this evening we want to focus on the home terrain, the Sahyadris. But this is again amazing. So here you can see some of these passes, right? These are not trekking routes, these are actually ancient passes which are used by shepherds. So shepherds normally stay in the winters in the lower Himalayas, in the plain, Kangra and places. And as the snow melts in these passes, they take like thousands of sheep at once over these very inhospitable passes at 4,000–5,000 meter altitude. Some of the sheep don't make it alive because it's like very risky terrain. The weather is extreme on those altitudes. The weather keeps changing. And they basically take these animals to the high alpine meadows to graze the entire summer. Why do they do that? Because the quality of the grasses and the medicinal herbs in these meadows has so much of goodness inside it. It's fresh air there, fresh snow melted water, that the quality of the milk, the quality of the meat of these animals is so much better than when they would keep them in the lower plains. Okay, next one. So here you can see my route actually. So let me just come a little down. So to this summer actually in May, I started from the border of Nepal. This is Nepal to, Darchula actually. So and I crossed the whole of Uttarakhand. This is actually Uttarakhand here. I crossed Uttarakhand through 30 high altitude passes, 4,000 meters. I came into Himachal. In Himachal I went in the Great Himalaya National Park. I went to the Doladar range, which is basically Dharmasala, Palampur, Jogendranagar. And then actually I went over the Doladar range, over the Pir Panjal range in the Chamba Valley. And as the monsoon was hitting in the month of July, I actually went towards Zanskar, Ladakh and Lahore, which is basically bordering with Pakistan and Tibet. So over this summer actually I covered 120 passes in 4 months, which is almost 1 high altitude pass every single day. While normally people do actually 1 pass over a week actually, because you need to acclimatize. Some people ask me, how do you finance this? Where do you find the money to do all of this? So once you get out of the city actually, life becomes very cheap. So only in the cities, the bigger the city, the more money that's gonna flow when you go to restaurants, when you go to movie, when you buy all kind of materialistic things. Once you get in the mountains, and not necessarily the Himalayas, but even the Sahyadris, remote villages, you don't spend much money anymore. So I run, I don't take any taxis, I run. I sleep in my tents, so I never stay in hotels. The only thing I need is food. Food is very cheap. It's 50 rupees for a plate of momos in Ladakh. It's 60 rupees for a plate of bakris with pitla in Harishchandragarh. So basically, I end up spending maximum 200 rupees per day. right? So I think when most people like go with, say, like they go to a Himalayan pass, that might cost you, maybe you will spend 10 days, that will cost you around like maybe 15,000 rupees. These 4 months I spent like 200 rupees a day, which is 5,000 rupees a month, which is 20,000 rupees in 4 months, covering 120 passes. So I spent 200 rupees per pass basically. Right, so just to that, it's actually not very expensive, I mean, to go out there for longer periods, so financial aspect should not hold you back. Okay, now let's go to the Sahyadris. So here we see Maharashtra, north you see Nasik, down you see Satara, Kolhapur, right? So yeah, I have to go back to the map. So, there's only one slide to point, then I'm back in the... So these are the Sahyadris, right? You have Mumbai, you have Pune, you have, okay, Harishandraghat here, so Ahmednagar should be somewhere here, I think. Unfortunately, I was not able to spend time in eastern Maharashtra. I focused mostly on the Sahyadris, I mean the mountains. So I came to know about the Sahyadris last February. I had a small talk on the Himalayas in Mumbai, and then some of my friends from Pune took me to some forts like Singhat, Rajghat and Torna. So and immediately I fell in love with this, I mean, amazing historical heritage of Maharashtra. So I started creating a big map, a big Google map here, and pinpointing it. I knew some people in Instagram, again, the power of Instagram, people who post these beautiful pictures of forts on Instagram, especially during the monsoon. So I started taking a list of, hey, which are all the forts, let me take all the names, put them on a big map. And I came with a big map of 200 forts, all spread out in north to south. So I came then end of October to Pune basically. I started from Pune to Lonavala. From Lonavala I started running. I started running from Lonavala, Bhimashankar, Nanaghat, Harishandraghat. Keep on running till I'm at the Bandardara Reservoir, right? The AMK, the famous Alan Madankulan, Kalsubai is there. And so that section gave me around 30 forts. Then from Pune I started running from Katraj, Singhat, Rajghat, Torna, traditional route, to Lingana. You can go to Lingana. You have a beautiful trail from Lingana to Raigat, the capital of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. From Raigat again you can run back towards, through beautiful trails, no roads. So running further to Kavlia Fort, Mohanghat, Chandraghat, and eventually ending up at, if you follow this yellow line, somewhere at Mahabaleshwar. From Mahabaleshwar I was packing up my luggage, I jumped in the water, I was swimming to Raireshwar. You might have seen some of the videos in WhatsApp. And so there I was actually touching then Raireshwar, my 50th fort, fully on ground. First 50 forts took around 2 weeks, I believe. So after that, of course, many of the forts are quite spread out. The Konkan forts above, south and north of Mumbai, then and Nasik is there, it's far away from Satara. After that, actually, I took a bike then because it's quite far away. So I don't like to run on roads in traffic, that doesn't make sense. Only when you go in beautiful nature and trails actually it inspires you to keep running without physical tiredness. So and then I started covering region-wise, like North Nasik, West Nasik, Kalsubai range, Harishandraghat range, the Konkan range, the Satara range, the Pauna Tamhini range. So we'll have a look in a little bit in detail now and have a little quiz for you guys. I'm gonna test your knowledge of the Sahyadris. So prepare. Okay, so next slide. And so these places that I ran through, I call them trans routes. So this was the first trans route where I ran actually from Lonavala to Nanaghat. So we can go to the next slide. So I'm just going to pick out some random, so we don't have enough time to look at all the 200 forts, but I'm going to give you some 10-15 forts and test your knowledge. Not everything is a fort sometimes, so we have some viewpoints like this one. So anybody knows where this is? Ratangat, not yet. So this is actually here, when you go from Lonavala to Bhimashankar, you're running actually on the Deccan Ridge, right? So the Deccan Ridge where you actually drop steeply down to the Konkan Plateau. And so actually you're running on beautiful trails, Bhimashankar on the right and the Konkan plains down there. In the morning it will be full of clouds next to you, very stunning views. So this is actually near Sidagat, somewhere on Ahupi village, on the way to Bhimashankar. Beautiful views on the Konkan plains, just like you get them from Harishchandragat or like say Nanegat. Next. Yeah, so this is a bit difficult because this is just like a village from, next one. So the Trans Route 2 was actually proceeding north from Harishchandragat. I kept running to Bandardara, basically to Kalsubai. So I was able to cross another 10 to 12 forts over there. So I keep running along the Deccan Ridge. And there again I came across some beautiful forts, as we see on the next slide. So which place is this? This is a famous place. Yeah, of course you guys are neighbors here. You get your water from the temple, right, of Harishchandragat. It flows all the way 100 kilometers west towards Ahmednagar. So this is indeed beautiful steep views on the Konkan plains from Harishchandragat. Next. Yeah, so next, I just removed. Yeah, and this is Ratangat, which is also there. I forgot to remove the name. Ratangat has this beautiful, famous pinhole, and has this very majestic staircase through which you reach the fort. Also has a beautiful back entry. And this is located around like the ancient Bandardara Reservoir, which is one of the most old catchment areas, 400 years old. Where the British basically constructed the big Bandardara Dam. Next. Yeah, this is AMK. AMK is also around that same area. Next. So then after that I did the third trans route. You have Materan. Materan is a bit touristical, but if you look around Materan, there are a lot of forts and peaks nearby, like you have Sondai, Songhiri, you have Nakind, Vitekanpep, Mahuli. So a lot of beautiful places again, which can all be connected on foot actually. You don't have to use a vehicle to go from one fort to the other. You have obviously Prabhalgat, very famous, Kalavantimdurg, and Ishralgat. So one slide further, only one slide. This is a famous one again. Any idea? Not Rajgat. This is also like a natural pinhole, but it's not Rajgat. It's a bit similar, I guess. So which is this pinhole, or which is the fort that you see in the pinhole in the background? Okay, it's a bit further away from you guys, right? This is closer to Materan and Mumbai. So this is actually Chanderi Fort. So it's a pretty typical signature, and this is seen from Nakind. Nakind is a famous peak close to Materan actually. So beautiful views in the morning. I was camping on top of Nakind, and I could see right again the valley full of clouds with the fort of Chanderi peeking through the clouds basically. Next. Okay, and the final route, as I was saying, is basically running from Pune, Katraj, all the way to Mahabaleshwar. There I ran through some of the most dense vegetation, virgin jungles, no farming settlements. You just go from the forest, like say from Chandragat, a very remote fort. You can actually go through very dense jungle all the way to Arthur Seat. Some of you might know Arthur Seat near Old Mahabaleshwar. You can actually connect with cars from the other side. So that was an amazing experience, because after the monsoon the jungle was so thick. I was trying to find my way, a little confusing. It's like dense jungle. And then when sometimes I thought I was lost, I was actually removing the leaves to find the way. And very deep inside the jungle I could see those rock-cut steps, which those during the ancient kingdoms 400 years ago would have been cut, and armies would have marched through these remote places connecting forts basically. Next. Yeah, this is a very famous one.
Rajgat.
Yeah, Rajgat. This is the pinhole right on one of the side ridges of Rajgat. Next. Rajgat is a beautiful fort. We camped on top. Stop. Which one is this? This is what I was talking about. Very virgin place. It's a famous viewpoint. So this is actually Arthur Seat. Arthur Seat, which was, I think, established by the British. So a beautiful viewpoint. You have a fort somewhere interior there called Chandragat. Not many people go there. From Chandragat you can traverse to this dense jungle and climb up to it, to the place from where the photo is taken, which is basically Arthur's Seat, giving you really stunning views on the beautiful Sahyadris. Next. Yeah. Next. So after running between the forts, I was starting actually with some of the most majestic ranges of the Sahyadris, which are located north of Nasik. There you have some of the biggest forts, the highest ports, peaks of the Sahyadris. So I started with, again, optimizing time, trying to cover forts one after the other located on a ridge. So this is the Ajanta Satmal Ridge, which is just north of Nasik, which actually is amazing. You can just follow this line, this ridge line, this range, mountain range, and you will cover some 12 to 15 forts in like say 3 days. Next. Yeah, stop. Famous fort. This is closer to you, right? Nasik, a bit. This is a famous one. They used to take like drone shots in this beautiful fort. Not Kalsubai, not Ankai Tankai. This is Dolap Fort. Dolap. So it's like I'm taking the photo from the fort to that extended traverse, basically. I think this is the second highest or the third highest fort in the Sahyadris. Next. So I was camping on top, beautiful sunset there. So the next range was again to go further north, more further north of Nasik, actually to the tip of the Sahyadris, the Sebri Dulbai ranges. So there you have a lot of forts again, very close to each other. So biking between these allowed me again to cover one after the other. Here you have some of the highest forts in Maharashtra, including Saler and Salota. Muller is there, Moragat. So beautiful forts. And so at this time actually I was covering almost 6 to 8 forts every day. So that was going like very fast. I was running up, literally coming down, going to the next one, climbing up, going down, getting up as soon as the sun rises all the way till it's dark and the sun sets down again. So if you look at a couple of beautiful forts in this range, in the next slide, this is a very famous one. You should know this one.
Saler.
Yeah, Saler Salota. So this is like a twin fort. We're actually looking at the highest fort in the Sahyadris, which is Saler, seen from the twin fort of Salota. Must visit, very majestic. Actually on that ridge in the background, there's like a rock cut step that gets you on top of the fort of Saler. Very overwhelming, would have taken enormous human efforts to cut these kind of rock steps through this basalt rock. Next. Yeah. Saler, Salota. And then after covering some 30 forts north of Nasik, I was slowly coming down. I was going back towards Pune, first covering Nasik West. You have the Trimbak range. Trimbak has again like some 8 forts. If we just pick out one, so we'll just go a little quickly. Next slide. Do you know this one? This is like a steeply cut corridor deep into the rock, some 20 meters inside the rock. It's somewhere a pretty famous fort again.
Harihar.
Speak up.
Harihar.
Not Harihar. Harihar is an exposed staircase. This is inside the rock actually. On top of the fort, your people have been cutting months or years, making a corridor inside the rock. No.
Brahmagiri.
Yeah, it's close to Brahmagiri, but it's the next one.
Anjeri.
Yeah, Durg Bandar. Perfect. So this is Durg Bandar actually. To go from Brahmagiri top to Durg Bandar, you have to get down into the rock, go through a small opening, go over a very narrow ridge, just hardly 2 meters wide, cover some 100 meters, and again get inside the rock and climb up through a staircase like this. Very overwhelming, amazing how they would have done this. Very strategic, almost impossible for any invading force to conquer and get up this fort. Next. So this is fort of Trimbak, then one more in Trimbak, yeah. This is the Harihar indeed, one of the famous ones. Yeah, but you can see here, right, some of the forts like Harihar, Kalsubai, AMK, everybody knows those ones because many people, thousands of people go to these 5-10 forts. Out of, there are actually some 350 to 400 forts, as per my understanding. but many people only go to a very limited set, while there are so many beautiful forts out there which are not very well known but equally beautiful. As I told you, if you ask me which is your favorite fort, I don't have a favorite fort. Every of those 200 was like a unique experience, either to climb up or looking at the majestic entry gates, or finding the water tanks, checking out the caves on these forts. So try to explore beyond these kind of known and very frequently visited forts. It's sometimes much nicer to be alone on top of the fort than having 100 people around you, because we get out of the city to actually find some peace. Not to sometimes they be with like 2,000 people in the Sandan Valley or so. Next. Yeah, Harihar, so majestic, unique fort, because I haven't seen this anywhere else in the 100, 200 forts. So then we go down south, we go to Nasik South. So we'll go a little quickly to this. This is just some pictures. After this I'm gonna come down to how I planned this journey and how I execute it. But first, a little bit of knowledge sharing on the Sahyadris. The Kalsubai range, right? Kalsubai is AMK, everything around the Bandardara reservoir. So next. Yeah, this is also unique. This I have not seen anywhere else.
Tringalwadi.
Yeah, Tringalwadi, perfect. Yeah, at least I see some experienced hikers here. So Tringalwadi is unique. This is actually not the top of the fort, but at the base you have some amazing caves actually, which are cut very similar, like say to Ankai Tankai, which is I guess closer to home. But amazingly cut. I mean, it's just they have cut the ceiling in such a way that it looks like almost decorated in a very beautiful way. Actually, must have taken again unimaginable human efforts to kind of cut out these beautiful chambers. Of course, partly destroyed probably by invading forces again, which wanted to kind of delete some of these beautiful monuments. Next. Yeah, next. So then the fifth region, so there are some 10 regions which I covered. Now we come home terrain, Harishchandragarh. So in Harishchandragarh is one fort, but Harishchandragarh is also like one kind of region, like one wildlife resort, one kind of park you can say, where again you have some 10 different forts located, not just Harishchandragarh, but many other beautiful forts that you definitely have to explore. Let's take a few examples. Yeah, next. So beauty, a real beauty. Read the description and tell me which one is this. This is close to home, guys. I get better response in Pune and Mumbai. This is actually Kunjargat. Kunjargat, from Kunjargat you can actually see Harishchandragarh. It's very close. Not many people know this place. This is a very beautiful fort. Looks like an elephant from the base. Has a beautiful water tank on top. And one very special feature about this fort is that on one side of the fort, right, it's like a pretty steep fort on both sides. So from one side of the fort there is a tunnel, there is a cave. You can actually climb in that tunnel. You can go to the other side of the fort, and there actually it's like a steep drop down. So something which I haven't seen in any other fort. A very amazing place. Should be pretty close for you guys to reach this one. Next. Voila. Then we come again further down, we go towards south of Lonavala. There you have a couple of famous ones, Tikona, Tungfort, Murugat, and so beautiful also around this Pauna lake. Very beautiful places to swim through, and the Tamini Ghat section from Pune, you can drive down to the steep Ghat section into the Konkan plains. But just pick out one or two forts and proceed, yeah. Famous one, come on guys.
Telbaila.
Ah, voila, indeed. So Telbaila is unique, again, nowhere else in the Sahyadris you can find this kind of double dike. This is also a fort. Unfortunately, I think the British blew up the staircase, just I think like they did in AMK. So they would have had a tough battle here and been frustrated, so they kind of destroyed the staircase. But this was also a fort on top. Now you can actually go just still, I mean, unless you're like a mountaineer and carrying ropes, you can just go in between the two pinnacles. A beautiful place, because it's located, it's like those two pinnacles are located pretty close to the ridge, the Deccan Ridge. So from there actually you can look down towards the Konkan plains. Next. Yeah, next, and then there's another beauty. This is a very beautiful fort, pretty close to Taila Baila. Any idea? This is exactly located on the Konkan drop. It's on top of the Deccan Plateau, but you can see straight down into the Konkan Plains, close to Tamini Ghat. No, Kurdigat I think is down. This is actually up. So next slide. Yeah, Gangat. Very unknown. I see immediately. If I don't see plastic there, I know it's not a touristic place. If I don't see Balaji chips packets, I know, okay, this is a beautiful place. Unfortunately, no negative comments on Balaji, but so these, I mean, that's what I'm just trying to show you photos. There's so much beauty out there, and every fort you can read on the left. I'm not gonna talk through all this because we'll be here till midnight, but every fort has such a rich history behind it, related in many cases to Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, that you really have to go there to get back and learn your history, not in the school books or in the textbooks, but go in the field and experience some of the historical places where very important events in history have happened. Next. So the third last region is from then I've done most of the interior Deccan Plateau forts. So I went to the Konkan side, the Mumbai side. So these are pretty famous forts because they are frequented by outdoor hiking groups in Mumbai. Next, I'll just pick out one or two. Another beauty here. Which one? Not Visapur. This was actually inspected by Chhatrapati Shivaji, and this could not Sinagat. It looks a little similar. It's called the entry gate, but this was also considered to be actually possibly the capital of his kingdom at one moment. Yeah, Sudagat, correct. Sudagat. I think Kar Raigat, the NGO where I spoke in Mumbai 2 days ago, is actually renovating this fort and is going to install, I think, in February, on the birthday of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, they are going to install huge wooden doors at the entry of this gate, of this fort. Next. So after Raigat and Rajgat, this could have been the third capital. Then Mumbai North, say again, a lot of forts on the Konkan Plains, much lower altitude, but very majestic also. A little bit more difficult to climb because you're going down in altitude, pretty hot and humid to climb these places. Next. So here are a couple of famous ones. This one you should know. Not Raigat, right? This is a famous one, a bit closer to Mumbai. Mahuli Fort. Do you know something about Mahuli?
No.
History-wise? This was actually ruled by the father of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. I have to check who is the history teacher in Ahmedabad. Next. Yeah, next. But I can understand, this is far away from you, so it's not that easy to finish. Mahuli, beauty, beauty, beauty. If you don't go there at least once in your lifetime, you have missed something beautiful, I can tell you. Next. Okay, here the picture is missing, Kojot Fort. Something happened to my PDF file. Next. Okay, the second last region is, after that I covered 35 forts, going simply from Mumbai, following the coastline all the way to the border with Goa. I didn't want to go outside Maharashtra because I wanted to focus on this state itself. So just driving some 5 days only. These are easy forts. They are at ground level. They are either on the coast or they are just built on an island. They like what is it? I forgot the name. Just they like 500 or 2 kilometers in the sea. Very majestic sea forts, but you don't have to climb up. You can just drive to it and simply step inside those forts. Next. So the first one is a Portuguese fort, initially built by the Portuguese but conquered by Chhatrapati Shivaji's army. Pretty famous one, guys. Rev Danda, yeah, I think somebody had it correct there. Beautiful fort. So a sea fort basically is built on the coast, gets heavy erosion, right? Like this is standing there since probably 16th century. So 400 years of heavy erosion from the salt water from the sea, and still these structures are standing there. Some of the stones actually have completely become hollow, so much impact of that salt water, but still the material they used, the ancient cement they used to hold the rocks together is still intact, like unbelievable basically. And the next one is another famous one. So that's one where you might have seen a video on Instagram where I was swimming in the sea. I am an impatient guy, so it was 2 hours for the next ferry, so I said ditch the ferry, dropped my bag near some nice fishermen, and then just swam some 500 meters from the coast to this beautiful fort. This was very important in the naval army of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. So they won a lot of one of his commanders, like an important naval commander, won a lot of battles from this fort. This was also a shipbuilding facility in those days. Any idea? Yeah, no, it's a bit below Alibag. This is Suvarnadurg fort. Suvarnadurg. Check the Wikipedia, you'll see some very interesting history. The Marathis were not only strong on the land, but the Marathis really kicked ass in the sea also. They did some, they really were able to cause some serious damage to the Portuguese, to the British fleets trying to come in from the coastline. Okay, and then, the last slide then. Yeah, so the last slide is Satara. Satara is also beauty. It's not very majestic. It's much lower than the forts like in Nasik or like in Bandardara, like Kalsubai range. But here again, I was able to complete another final 30 of my 200 forts, just circling around Kolhapur and Satara. So let's just pick out one or two. Yeah, next slide. So again, a very steeply cut. This is not like a corridor to walk or an entry gate. This is a water tank. So they have been cutting a staircase like 30 meters inside the rock just to collect water so that the army could be safe if it was surrounded by enemy troops for months altogether. Any idea? Kamalgat is a good one. So apart from Kamalgat, where you have a similar staircase, a water tank, there's only one other fort which has a similar structure. Which one is it? It's near Satra. Kamalgat is not that close to Satra. I mean, it's more towards Mahabaleshwar, I mean. Which one? This is Dategat, yeah, Dategat. So Dategat and Kamalgat are the only two forts where you find these deeply cut tunnels. You cannot imagine how many months they would have cut into this hard basalt rock to create these facilities. Next, I think we have one more slide. Yeah. So this is a famous well, not a fort. This is the confluence of the Krishna and the other river. Which city is located on the confluence? Yeah, Karat city. Oh, amazing. So here you can see me standing there halfway the well. It's fully dry. During the monsoon, the water actually will come above me. So this is a common well for the city of Karat, so where all the citizens actually could take drinkable water from in the olden days, obviously. Voila, this to just show you some of the beauty. There's some 20 out of 200 forts. So now I'll come to another 20 minutes on my real presentation. So how have I been traversing now very fast, like many people say, how do you do 200 forts in 2 months? This is how I do it. So whatever techniques I'm describing here, the same techniques I've been using in the Himalayas. So I've been spending 4 months in the Himalayas. There are no villages there, there is no mobile network there is no power there is no roads there. So you're completely on your own. Of course, in the Sahyadris, you're typically passing 1 or 2 villages every day. So you have the benefit that you find food in the villages, so you don't have to carry food. You will be able to power your phone. I'm using my phone to carry my maps and navigate to find my way in jungles and find my way from the base of each of these 200 forts to the top. So what I basically use is, this is a bit technical, but I'm still going to tell you. I mean, if you're really serious, if you're a serious hiker, and if you want to explore the Sahyadris by yourself, you have to use some of these important skills actually. So the first thing is basically finding your way, navigation basically. So what I do is I carry OpenStreetMaps. OpenStreetMaps are like a public version of Google Maps, where you use Google Maps to navigate from here to the station or to to say Pune. You follow the Google map. If you're in the jungle, if you're in nature, if you're in the mountains, you don't use Google Maps because you don't have any network, you don't have any mobile network, and there actually you can use OpenStreetMaps. OpenStreetMaps can be downloaded in your phone, and so this My favorite one is the OnePlus 7, which also has an amazing camera, so I can take nice pictures and make you guys jealous on Instagram, and take nice videos also. So I download the whole map of Maharashtra, Uttarakhand, Himachal, Ladakh in this phone. And then I, of course, download my 204s, which I've been studying, put it all here. And then I put this phone in flight mode. I don't connect to the network anymore, and my entire map is in my hands. I don't need to connect it to my GeoSIM. I just follow the phone to find my way to places where I've never been before. So people who are serious about trekking, this is what we call alpine style. Alpine style means you don't lose a local guide from the village, you don't use a trek operator in the Himalayas to take you to the pass. No, you are your own guide basically. You carry your own food, you carry your own luggage, and you find your own way. So get familiar with maps. All these maps, all these documentations, how to use these maps, it's all available on a blog that I maintain, a blog called ultrajourneys.org. If you search on the internet, you can find a lot of more information. I'm not gonna bore you guys to sleep with this, but it's all out there. Next. Yeah, so next we'll skip this a little bit more technical, so we'll skip. Yeah. Okay, and then one important slide, so this I really wanna share with you. There's a website called rambler.com. Rambler.com has, for the 204s that I visited, 190 forts have the trails in the Rambler. If you want to know how to reach, like say, Sudagat, you just type in Sudagat and you will be able to download the GPS log, because one hiker, say from Mumbai or Pune, would have gone to Sudagat, he would have recorded the trail, made it available in the Rambler, and you can just download it. Once it's in your phone, you can easily find your way. Next. So as you plan these journeys, I also make extensive use of Google Maps. If you zoom in on a Google map, this Google satellite map, not the street map which you use in the city, you can zoom in and anything that is just 30 centimeters wide, like a trail on the left side, you can spot it on Google Earth or Google satellite maps. So that basically means, right, that if you study the region around the fort, you can easily spot the trail going from the base to the top. Question there?
When did you start this journey?
This I started in end of October, and I finished somewhere around Christmas. Yeah, 2 months. So satellite maps, very useful tool. If I plan like 3,000 kilometers in the Himalayas, I'll make a lot of use of these Google Maps. Next. So ultrajourney.org, as I said, is a beautiful collection of data, all the Himalayan passes which I traversed, all the forts in the Sahyadris, detailed maps, presentations, the slides that I'm giving here, beautiful short films that I've created about my trips to the Himalayas are also all collected on this blog. I just want to share this information with you because I've spent a lot of weeks and weeks of planning, and I know how difficult it is, especially when you go to the Himalayas. There is very little information out there. So I wanted to share again this beauty of these places with any other outdoor person who wants to explore these beautiful places. Next. Yeah, so skip this one, a bit technical. Voila, here we come to minimalist packing. So when you go to the Himalayas, what do you see? You see people hiking. What do you see behind the person? You see a 60-liter backpack. You see 25 kilograms of luggage. Right, and that person is actually not struggling against the mountain, that person is actually struggling carrying this 25 kilograms in the Himalayas. Of course, you're not going to carry 25 kg, you don't have extreme climate in the Sahyadris, but I still see a lot of people carrying big tents, big sleeping bags, a lot of food, cooking stuff, so eventually they are climbing up with 10 kilograms of luggage steeply on those rock-cut steps, which takes a lot of effort. So I just carry very minimal stuff. I don't carry a tent, I carry something which is called a bivy there. Bivy is like a very small 500-gram tent. You can see it in the picture. That keeps me safe from rain, safe from mosquitoes, safe from snakes in the forest. I've slept with this bivy on top of glaciers at 5,000 meter height on the base camp of Stokkangri, which is one of these known highest peaks. I've slept on top of the Kangla Glacier, one of the biggest glaciers in the Himalayas, connecting Lahoti with Zanskar. So with 500 grams bivy, 500 gram sleeping bag in the BV, 200 gram mat to keep myself warm from the underground. So 1.2 kilogram carrying on my back, I can sleep anywhere in the world basically. So very light, allows me to go very fast, and this is one of the reasons that I can do a single pass every day. Because I go lightweight, I just carry 1 to 2 kilograms in the Sahyadris, I carry hardly 4 to 5 kilograms, few extra jackets in the Himalayas, which allow me to go so fast, and that becomes much more enjoyable, right? So some of you guys know Pin Parvati. It's a famous pass, right? How many days does Pin Parvati take? Yeah, it takes around 10 to 12 days, right? They will charge you also around 25,000 rupees for that pass. So with this luggage, I just take 2 days instead of 12 days to do that same pass. And as you know, I spend 200 rupees a day, which means I spend 400 rupees, not 25,000 rupees for Pin Parvati, because I'm light and I find my own way. I don't need a guide, I don't need porters. And so the benefits of minimalist alpine style hiking comes in many ways. You can go fast, you can go light, you can enjoy, and you spend much less financially basically. Next. Solo, yeah, so most of my trips I go solo. Like in the Himalayas, those 4 months when I disappeared in the mountains, I only came out 4 months later. I was completely on my own, with a few exceptions of some of my ultra running friends from Chennai joining me. But basically I love spending time alone in the mountain. If you're alone, it's more like a form of meditation. There is nobody with you that you chit chat from morning till evening. You're completely on your own. In the Himalayas, they're extremely majestic, they are very big. You sit on top of the pass, like 2-3 days away from any nearby human settlement. You experience enormous internal peacefulness, and it's like a very meditative, a very peaceful experience, I mean, to be there. One other benefit of going solo is that as you travel alone in a non-touristic place, typically I like to explore away from the touristic places, you get overwhelmed by a lot of hospitality. If you travel with a big group, obviously people are not going to say, please 10 guys come in my house here and eat and sleep on the floor. That's simply not possible. So traveling solo really has a lot of nice benefits. Of course it's a little tricky. If you're not like an experienced hiker, you should be very careful going alone, because if anything happens to you, of course, nobody is there to help you or to get help and rescue. Next. I think we have another 5-10 minutes, I hope that's okay. Heck Weather Shelter. This was one of my beautiful campsites. Most of the time I don't use my BV, I just sleep in the open. Tents again, it's nice, camping tents, but most of the time, unless it's rain or it's cold, you don't need a tent actually. You just sleep under the blue sky, you look at the stars, you dream peacefully, as long as you're out of the wind. So which place is this? This is near Matharan. It's a bit away from Matharan. You can actually follow the railway track, go to Trekkamp Fort. From Trekkamp Fort you can again continue on a beautiful ridge to Nakind Hill. It's a beautiful place. Again, you look at the same thing, Chanderi Fort in the back. So this was my little campsite. It was just like hardly 3 meter by 3 meter. Everywhere I would roll, I would actually roll the 100 meter down the hill. But amazing, I mean, I was waking up above the clouds. So this is in the evening, but in the morning, this whole valley was covered with white clouds. So I was like in heaven. It was amazing. I mean, again, being solo, right? You're all on your own. So nobody is there to disturb you, total freedom and an enormous experience of inner peacefulness. Next. Food. Here you see my favorite food. Harish Chandra got in a small hut.
60 rupees per plate.
Yeah, bakri and pitla indeed. So yummy, I mean, again 60 rupees for these plates, right? This is a good one. The same plate in Singat Fort is going to cost you at least 200 rupees because it's a touristic place. So why do you go to touristic places? It's much cheaper to go to like small places where you have friendly people who don't want to make money out of you, who just want to charge you whatever it's actually worth. So food again, I mean I just show this slide to tell you that I never carry food with me, not in the Himalayas but in the Sahyadris. because I go quickly, so at least every day I come across 2-3 villages. So breakfast in the village, dinner in the village. Many times I don't have to buy food because when I settle down in a small village, I look for a temple to sleep in so that I'm not getting wet with rains. I'm just 5-10 minutes in the temple, and there will be some very kind villagers to say, no, 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 don't sleep in the temple, please come home. He gives me a hot shower, which feels very nice because I've been sweating for the last 2 weeks, so a nice hot shower is so refreshing. He gives me fresh tea, he allows me to take rest, charge my phone, give me again nice food. Rotis, typically home cooked foods. In many of these villages you have like homegrown food, like organic, very nutritious, which will again give you that energy to continue doing another 6-8 forts the next day. And then finally at the end of the evening he tells you to sleep in his bed while he sleeps in the floor next to you. So unbelievable hospitality I experienced in Maharashtra. It's beyond words. So this, by the way, is on the base of Harihar, not on the touristic base, but on the other, on the other side. I forgot the name of the village. Next, a few more slides, and then we can do Q&A. So this was actually the same villager, very nice guy. So plate full of thick chapatis, so soft, so tasty. Nothing like home-cooked food, you know, right? Instead of going to a restaurant. Next. So hydration, again, I never carry water. I don't suggest you do that, but I'm kind of a runner, so I run these 100, we call this 100-mile races in Europe. So 100 miles is 160 kilometers. So we start running in the evening, so we run through night 1. So we do some, say, 50 kilometers in the first night, full dark, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Then we keep running throughout a full day. We reach 100 kilometers, then again we run a second night. So then you start kind of hallucinating, because after 2 days, 2 nights of not sleeping, the mind starts wandering away. You look at some rock and you think there's some human face or some ghost. You keep running, 30 hours, 40 hours, till finally sometimes 50 hours non-stop. That sounds weird to you, that you think, how is that possible? I can tell you, each and every one of you can do that. Every one of us is built to run. The way our knees, our muscles are structured, our Achilles, our strong knees, our quadriceps, we're all runners. Why can't we do that immediately? Because all of us have become very stagnant. Say we are sitting most of the time. We are sitting now. We are sitting in office. We are sitting at home. In the cities, you don't even have to go out to get food. You just get a Swiggy and the food will be delivered on yourself. So we have a very stagnant lifestyle, which is so unhealthy, because we are actually, our forefathers used to work on the farms. Our forefathers used to run in the forest behind their food, obviously. And we have been running over tens of thousands of years. In the last 2-3 generations, we have actually become very lazy and very stagnant. But all of us have the anatomy to run days and days all together, I'm telling you. So don't think I'm a special person. I'm just somebody who has 2 rules. One is consistency. You work out on a regular basis. I run like 4 or 5 times a week. No need to go fast, no need to go quick or long. You just have to do whatever you like to do, running, swimming, cycling, badminton, cricket, on a very regular basis. And second rule in life is be patient. Don't immediately think, because Facebook, my friend is taking a picture on, I finished a full marathon, that you will also do that in 2 weeks. Not possible. You need to give it time, be patient, practice a couple of weeks and months, be consistent, and you're also gonna take that same selfie in 3-4 months of finishing a full marathon. That's my experience. Now, consistency and regularity, common rule in life for any success, I would say. Next. And then hygiene, okay, Himalayas, no problem, it's pretty chill out there. Even there I will be running in my t-shirt and my shorts. But of course in the lower Himalayas, in the Western Ghats, the Sahyadris, pretty hot, humid, so you will sweat a lot, you will become a little smelly, right? So once in a while you jump in. This is a picture where I was swimming actually with my luggage from Old Mahabaleshwar towards the Raireshwar side, basically. Beautiful lake, natural waters. You swim 1 kilometer in the lake and your skin, your health feels so soft, so much natural goodness. That water that you can drink from and has so much of healthy natural minerals, which you don't find in this chemically treated water in the cities where this water is dead. In the Himalayas, the water that I was drinking from the glaciers, from the snow, from the rivers, that is alive. This is dead water. I can feel the difference after spending months and months in the Himalayas drinking fresh water. So imagine the difference it has on your health in the long term. And this lake is also pure natural. I mean, this is one of these lakes contributing again to the Krishna River, where we would be crossing a bit later when we touched Karat city. Next, we're almost done. Stay with me. Power, of course, power is very important. Of course, if this thing goes down, then there is no way I can find my way in the Himalayas or in the Sahyadris. So you have to have intelligent power management. Switch it in flight mode, keep it in battery savings mode. You'll go 2 days with any good battery, any new phone. Carry another 10,000 mAh power bank and you're good for 6 days to reach the next village where you can charge your phone basically. Next. Yeah, so this I always discovered, this is my daily expense. So I was earning lots of money in the city. I was spending lots of money. Now I spend 200 rupees a day because I can't spend money in the Himalayas. There's nobody there to give my money to. Nobody wants money also. The shepherds don't want my money. The Gujars, the mountain tribes don't want my money. These people are having completely unexpected hospitality. They also live without money. The shepherds, they trade in goods still, like in the good old Asian days. Next. And this is what I'm saying, right? I mean, I don't want to go against any groups, but I'm just saying that this is sometimes a picture. I mean, forget about the fact that it's Sandan Valley. Same in the Himalayas, you have these hundreds of passes. The groups will typically take you to the touristic ones. You end up going from a city with thousands of people to a touristic place with thousands of people, so I don't sometimes see the point. I start exploring some unknown places, just like the tagline of Trekkamp. Explore the unknown, I guess, because there is a lot of beauty out there, rather than again ending up with too many people on thousands of people on a weekend. It's totally, you're not gonna find your peacefulness there. Next. So as I told, Balaji was my main guide in the touristic places. So thank you, Balaji. Next. And very bad, I mean, this is pretty shocking. This is something we see in many places, unfortunately, in India. This is not you guys, I'm pretty sure you coming here to listen to this, you have better ethics, but this is unfortunately what many of the youngsters do. They don't go out to enjoy nature, they don't go to actually trek, they just go there to have fun, play loud music, destroy ancient history, which is pretty sad. So with outdoor ethics, I just mean to say that we have a lot of education to do, basically to educate the youngster that we need to respect our heritage, don't leave a plastic trail, etc. Next. And then the next slide shows a more positive image. This is Nimgiri Fort, somewhere, I think through the Lonavala side somewhere, where you see things done by citizens which are not done by the government sometimes. There's actually a couple of young guys who live in Pune, who work in IT. At the end of every month, these guys put some of their salary aside in a common NGO, in a non-profit. They use that money actually to give a 350 rupees per hour salary, per day salary to the local villagers. And they start doing forest conservation. They spend like 4 months to dig out the soil from one water tank or from a cave to basically restore this fort to its ancient richness, basically. So many places, just like Raigat, the group from Mumbai, who is there in many other places, is doing beautiful restoration work in Turna, in Sudagat and other forts. So this was really, this was really heartwarming for me to see in some of the places, the effort taken by these volunteers. Next. Yeah, so this one we're gonna skip. This will take a little bit time. So if you're interested in the Himalayas, I'm gonna give a nice, beautiful movie on the Himalayas, 20 minutes, which will show the beauty that I've seen in the Himalayas, the humanity I've experienced, the shepherds that I've stayed with, the amazing landscapes I've seen. I'll give it to Vishal, he can give it to you maybe. at some other time. It will take a little bit of time to show this. So we can skip these slides and you can experience this in the movie. But again, when you go to the Himalayas, it's all about higher altitude. You go to 3, 4, 5,000 meters. When you go to these higher altitudes, the weather gets more extreme. You come in snow, ice. Here it's pleasant to get wet in the monsoon. There you don't want to get feet. Please go there and explore. And again, die with memories, not dreams. Thank you.